Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today Kenedi is creating some really cute spring inspired, they look a little bit like you should wear them to a picnic, very cute nail set. Anyway, she's starting off with French cream and this is one of our sheer nude colours. So she's just putting on a few coats of this just to get the right opacity that she's after. Next we're using strawberry cream and we're just creating a French tip, so she's just going in and marking out the sides. Some people prefer to draw a grid when they're doing French tips, but it just depends how confident you are at getting it even. Kenedi's quite confident with the French tip because she does them every single day, so she's just going straight in and marking where she wants it. A good tip is to use a long liner brush for doing your French tip because you'll get a much smoother line around the smile line. And then just go in and fill in the bottom. And she's just cured that for 60 seconds and going back in with another coat. And once that's all done, you're going to pop that in the lamp for 60 seconds and then we're using Snow White. And we're just creating a grid over the top of this pink and it'll look a little bit like gingham fabric, it'll look like a picnic blanket and it'll just give it a little bit more detail. So again, use a long liner brush for this and it'll mean that your lines go on really smooth and even. The shorter the brush, the wobblier your lines are going to be. And then we're just doing some horizontal lines and this will just create our checkerboard grid. Once that grid's done, we're going to stick it into cure and then go around that smile line with Snow White again, and this is just going to add a border. And again, the longer your brush, the smoother that line's going to be too, so don't go in with your teeny tiny brushes as much as it might be tempting. Try and use one of these longer brushes. Once that's done, we're going in and adding in some semicircles and this will just make it look like a picket lace. It'll add a detail to the edge, it'll make it look a little bit more like fabric. Once that's cured, we're just going in with our nail tip gel adhesive and just popping on some little blobs, and eventually these are going to be little strawberries, so you just want to take a silicone tool and once it starts sticking you just want to dip that in some gel residue remover and that will help that not stick anymore, and you're just going to shape that into a strawberry shape, so a soft triangle shall we say. We're just going to add a second dollop of that nail tip gel adhesive to make a second strawberry just a bit further down the nail, and again use that gel residue remover and just shape that until it looks like a strawberry. Once you're happy with the shape of your strawberries, Kenedi's chosen Courtesan, and she's just going to go over the strawberries to give them a lovely red finish. So just again, use a detail brush and make sure you get that well covered. Try not to get it on the background, but if you do, you can always use some gel res again and just wipe it off. Once that's cured, we're going in with Evergreen and we're just adding our tops to the strawberries, so we're just going to make them look like little leaves sat on top of them. Stick them in the lamp to cure, and then Kenedi's picked Limoncello, and we're just using this to add our little dots on the strawberries, like the little seeds that are on the outside. So just dab them on in a little random pattern. Cure that, then we're going in with top coat and we're going over the whole entire nail. You just want to make sure that you're getting all of those nooks and crannies, all of the crevices, because you don't want to ruin the fact that you've made this lovely 3D shape by blurring it out with loads of top coat. And there we go, that is our first nail. It's very cute. For the next nail, we're starting with Limoncello for the French tip. And again, just go in and add your smile line, and then we're going to fill in the whole thing and do 2 coats of that curing in between. Once you're happy with that and it's cured, we're using Snow White, and we're just going to go in and do a grid of dots. So just mark down your centre line, and then we're just going to alternate where we're putting them across the nail. Pop that into cure, and then we're using some of our nail tip gel adhesive to create a flower. So you're just going to pop on 3 balls of the nail tip gel adhesive in a flower shape, and just go in with one of our silicone tools, again with some gel residue remover, and just smush in the middle bits to flatten that, and then we're going to pull them out into a point. And this is a super simple way of creating a 3D flower. Now she's happy with the shape, she's popped that in the lamp and then chosen strawberry cream, and is just going over that flower to colour in the middle bits. We're going to pop that into cure, and then again with Courtesan, Kenedi is just doing an outline around that nail. So again, using a fine detail brush, just using that to smooth off around those edges. Once that's done, pop it into cure, and then we're using some more of our nail tip gel adhesive. And we're going to make them into some little balls, and we're going to pop them in the middle of that flower. And just use that silicone tool to place them where you want before curing. And then we're going in with Osiris, and we're just going to pop this over the top of those little balls. By using this gel polish over the balls, it makes them look like little pearls, so it's a great way of creating pearls if you don't have any. And once you're happy with that, you're going to pop it in the lamp, and then we're going to go in with top coat and just finish that nail off. So again, make sure you get in all those nooks and crannies and don't leave any pools of gel polish around the 3D elements. Once that's covered, we're sticking it in the lamp for 60 seconds before we go on to the next nail. So for this next one, we're using Courtesan, and we're just going to use that and make another French tip. So again, you're just going to pop down a couple of layers of this, curing in between before we go on to the next step. Once you're happy with your coats of that, make sure it's cured, and we're going in with Snow White and just doing that dot pattern again. So just alternate where they go across the nail. This is going to be one of our simpler nails. We're not going to add any 3D elements to this one. It's just kind of going to be a filler nail. Stick that in the lamp for 60 seconds, then we're going in with some top coat before we cure it again. And that's this nail done. For the last nail, we're starting with Limoncello, and again, we're just going to go in and do that French tip. So a couple of coats of Limoncello curing in between, and then we'll go on to the next step. Once you're happy with that, stick it in the lamp for 60 seconds before using Snow White, and we're just going to go in and add some more dots. So same again, put your middle line in and then alternate them across the nail. Cure that, and then we're using our nail tip gel adhesive, and we're going to be making some ladybirds this time, or if you're in America, ladybugs. So just pop down a little dollop of the nail tip gel adhesive, and you're just going to shape that into a little ball before curing it, and then going in with Courtesan just to colour them in. And same as with the strawberries, make sure these are well covered. If you get any on the background of the nail, you can always use a brush and some gel residue remover to get rid. We're going to pop that in the lamp to cure, then we're using Serious Black, and we're just going to add in some lines for the divide on the ladybird's wings. We're then just going to add in a little semicircle, and this is going to be the head for the ladybird too. And then we're just going to go in and add some little antennas. And then just take a dotting tool and we're going to add in the little spots on the ladybird. And we're going to do exactly the same on the other one. Once you're happy with your ladybirds, we're going to stick them in the lamp and then go in with our top coat and give that a good coat everywhere. Pop that into cure, and there we have the full set. They're very cute, they're very fresh, very springy. Do you see what I mean? That you could totally wear these to a picnic. They're very cute, aren't they? If you want any of the products that Kenedi's used today, they'll be tagged down below and linked in the video too. And we'd love to know what you want to see next from us, so leave us a comment. We hope to see you next time, guys. Bye!